Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. I have here Jade, the founder and editor of the Jolly Times newspaper, is dedicated to illuminating the often overlooked positive aspects of the world. With a passion for journalism that uplifts and inspires, Jade has committed herself to crafting a publication that sheds light in darkness, offering a beacon of hope and positivity in challenging times. Through the Jolly Times, she strives to transform the narrative of news media, focusing on stories that bring joy, insight, and encouragement to her readers. Thank you so much, Jade, for joining me today.
Thank you, Gina, for having me on. It's wonderful,
Of
wonderful.
course, I'm excited because you're all the way in Australia and I'm all the way in America, and we get to communicate this way.
Crazy as the world.
And I love the smiley face of the Jolly Times. It's so cute. Like it's like that emoji with the yellow with the smiley face. I mean, I'm like, it brings me joy just even looking at that. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yes, that's the plan. That's the plan.
Yeah. So can you tell us about the moment that sparked the creation of Jolly Times and the mission behind it?
Yeah, so the Jolly Times, it wasn't so much a spark, it was more like of a growing thing that I saw would be necessary in a public place. I just started to notice the reactions of people. I'm a very optimistic, quite bouncy person, and I like to help other people feel that way. Or when I go into a room and I'm at work, I like to pick the energy up and keep it there. And for, when you get the reactions straight away, first thing in the morning, people come into work and they're like, "Oh, did you read this? Like, oh, this is shit. Oh, And it's just like, oh, but what else is good? What can we
Yeah.
talk about that can actually make us feel good about the space that we're working, and we can have a laugh. Um, and it was just kind of a process over a bit of time that was like, okay, maybe there's something missing here. There's a big depression gap, and it's getting into younger and younger children that I'm seeing with extreme anxiety and extreme discomfort about approaching the world. And I thought, what a shame, because the world is really incredible and we just need more tools to be able to show that. So I started thinking, I was like, okay, let's make this news source. And I spoke to some friends, and it was kind of like, it was actually around in like a party situation, and I was talking about it, and my friends were like, "Yeah, do it. You're the perfect person to go out there and find it and bring that out of people, put it on there." And it would just kind of mold into a snowball like that, and has slowly become something that's now quite necessary required in a lot of homes in Australia. So it's really exciting.
That is awesome. Yes, because with the children, even myself, I remember in fourth grade, we had to do like a report, and it was during the Oakland fires here in the Bay Area in California. And there was like a lot of fires and a lot of houses were destroyed. And I remember the teacher actually telling me, "Oh, yeah, you're going to have to do a report, clip the newspaper from the article." I couldn't find one good, positive article. Everything was so like dark and
Yeah.
like murder this, stolen this, fire here. So I had to do mine on the Oakland fires. And I'm just
Oh,
like, talk about fire and houses burning down in school as my report. What the heck is that about? So when you mentioned to me about the children, I was like, I can totally relate. 'Cause I even remember when I was little doing that and having to do a report
yeah.
on the stinky fires. That was horrible.
One of my friends actually, he lives up the coast near around where Lauren lives. And he came on as I was growing, he came on and saw what I was doing with Jolly and was like, I want to do this as well. I want a piece of this pie. It just looks awesome. I was like, cool, great. What are your skills? What do you like to do? How can we get you involved in like the best possible way? And he's actually now, so we work together on it now, and he's actually left his university course of doing engineering and changed it to media studies so that we can be a bit more targeted and focused and stuff like that. And all of his course material is so depressing.
Mm.
And he's just like, Jade, he was like, I came to do this so I could be more productive and jolly, but I'm spiraling again because everything is about crime and murders and death, and exactly like what you explained. And so we actually asked his school teacher if we can model the course off Jolly Times instead and do
Yeah.
good reports, because it's just better for everyone's health to just think about solution focused things. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. So now it's being kind of guided along a university course as well in the Gold Coast, which is
Wow.
really exciting.
Absolutely. That's so awesome. Now, you emphasize the importance of focusing on positive impacts around the world. Now, how do you curate your stories and to ensure that we have this positive feeling and vibe within us?
Yeah, so I really, when I'm searching for the news, I'm searching for a lot of it comes to me through different sources and recommendations, which is the most wholesome way. If I'm finding it, I'm really looking for people that are just out of their own back trying to make a big difference in people's health, in people's happiness, in people's perspective, and how they want to approach themselves and their own health and their own relationships. And I just try the same way that the mainstream news would amplify everything negative and down about that story. I kind of go the exact same strength in the opposite direction. And I just try and find every single thing that is bright and happy and productive about this person. And I just put it all into a thing because my news isn't just the action of what they've done. I like to get a lot deeper into what has built them to think this way, to want to go out and do that extra for their fellow people, and what work they've had to put in along the way as well to be able to put themselves in that position to be able to do so. Because a lot of the people that I hear are, I want to do something good, but I don't know how, or I don't know where to start, or I don't have a lot of money, or I don't have a lot of followers. But one of my favorite stories, which is actually this one right here, I put it as the first story on my first paper because I just loved it so much. And this guy, he's from my hometown. His name's Rocco, and he had an experience where he was trying to take his life at a certain point in stage. And while he was working through that, he was at his mum's house, and he noticed it. There's a lot of bridges in my hometown, which is quite a popular spot. And he went out. He was looking at these bridges, and he just couldn't bear the thought of anybody going through that same pain as he was going through. And he just wrote down all of these words, notes, compassion, poems, phrases, little letters. And he went out in all of the bridges around the whole area, like extended the suburb, like town after town after town. And he stuck all of these stories and notes in the middle of bridges so that if people came and they were in a very depressed state and they were suicidal of thought, then they had the chance to look at these messages and read them and have an extra 5 seconds of pause that could completely shift them into a different direction and not want to do it anymore. And almost immediately, he got so many messages because he put his Instagram handle at the bottom. He just put them in a poly wallet to keep them out of the rain. And he got so many messages of people, and it was mainly men. And they were like, I'm at home with my wife and my children now eating breakfast because I read your note. And I thought, whoa. And there were even children. There was a little boy that went missing, I think, for 4 days. And he had actually gone to the bridge, taken this letter, buggered off with it, read it, sat with it for a bit, and then decided to go back home and not do anything harmful to himself. And I thought, this kind of impact, if someone was to jump off a bridge and take their own life, that would be all over the news. And that would be there. And it would be another one kind of ticked off on the suicide list and how many people do this. But, and I think if when you lose somebody, how heavily does that impact your world? You know, how does that heavily impact your friends and extended family, and then the people that they know as they're going through that trauma of loss as well. And now think of how much of a magnitude that effect is on that same circle when a person has been saved, and when you've got that acknowledged gratefulness that their presence is still here when it couldn't have been. And all that was done was a note on a piece of paper in a plastic wallet, zip tied to a bridge. And I thought, it's amazing. And over 100 lives have been saved by that directly, and how many more over. And I thought, that's news, because suicide is a really big topic that not many people want to talk about, and not many people understand or in like the prevention space. And I thought, that's just so good because it's basically free, it's imaginative, it's so caring and so community involved. And I just love it. And I thought, And that's inspired a lot more people. I've got the most messages off that story than I've ever had off any other one. And it's just so powerful. And I think, awesome, people saying, I've gone and left a note here. I've thought of different ways I can send a message. I've shown this story to blah, blah, blah. And I thought, awesome, that's the effect. Rather than someone thinking that it's a valid option, they might read a story of someone taking their life and think, oh, I'm also feeling that way. Maybe I'll do that as well. Or and think, what's the point? They lose that hope filter, right? But
Yeah.
by seeing that in an inexpensive way of literally saving hundreds of lives in with very little effort, really. Not putting his efforts down, but in term,
Yeah.
anyone can do that. And I thought, yeah, that's amazing.
What a beautiful story. Wow. I wish I would have heard that story here in the US. We get nothing but garbage. That's a beautiful story. Just, because I've experienced suicide attempts twice in my life, and none of
Yeah,
them are bridge, but from like drinking and feeling depressed and taking pills and bad relationships. And that's what I had experienced. But I
yeah,
remember this one guy, because we have the Golden Gate Bridge here in San Francisco. And I went to college over here in San Jose State, and there was a guy. We were in a drama class together, and to do an icebreaker, we went ahead and had to like write down three things about us, and then we had to figure out which one was a lie or false, right? So he wrote some things down, and I saw on there it said like jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and survived. So of course I thought that one was false. I was like, oh, this one's not real. But it was real. He tried to commit
wow,
suicide and survived. The Golden
wow,
Gate Bridge, I was just like, you have different plans now. You have something else going on in your life. And now he's actually helping and mentoring and speak. He's a speaker and author, I think, and helping people who are struggling with ideas of suicide and just,
yeah,
or feeling depressed or have anxiety or any of that, because that all can stem down to suicide. And so I was just like, wow. And so it's so neat how we take our our pain, and we turn it into our beautiful purpose. And so
absolutely.
that's a beautiful, that what you do, and then sharing his story and what he's been doing and how many lives have been saved. That is just amazing. I love hearing stories like that. It's like, oh, it warms my heart.
I love exactly what you just said of turning, I can't remember where it. You said something like just turning a trauma or a pain into a
Yeah.
process like that. And I think that's so important. It's so easy to sit and dwell and be consumed by whatever negativity you're in, and to be able to find a way to use that to help other people not go through that same pain is, I just, yeah, it's incredible. There's people that are out there that are doing this. It's awesome.
That's beautiful. And I know I was telling you before I hit the record button that I stopped watching the news or reading like newspapers. After like I think it was 2020 or 2019, I forget, like probably the end of 2019. I was like, I
Yeah.
am done, because and this is what I've been hearing from a lot of like my business coaches and also some of my mentors. They're saying the first thing you want to do is to be happier is to unplug the TV.
Yeah. Step one.
So, but unplug the TV, And so, how do you think media outlets can balance the reporting of like hard news while still promoting positivity and inspiration?
I think they can get rid of what I learned was called yellow news, which is the very quick, not very factually backed up or based credited news. I think there's a race for information that we need to learn to let go of
Mm.
for the sake of real reporting. I think that's a huge thing to begin with. And then I find I get quite frustrated because the good news that I find on these platforms, they're, oh, I'm at a fair, I'm reporting here from a new pop-up fair that's happened in town. The chips are really crispy. They're really good. Okay, cool. What else? And then, then there'll be maybe a story about something about perhaps conservation or environmental issues that have been progressing and getting in a good way. And while the first block can maybe just go, it's just not really necessary for people to take up people's time. The second block, yeah, while these things are important, they're not necessarily things that are topics that are really engaging and exciting most of the public. So we need to make the exactly how we do with the normal news, we need to keep it personal and relevant to the people and keep that hope line in there. The news now, it's so easy to reaffirm a personal view or bias and stay in that bubble. And that's partly to do with social media algorithms, apps will target a certain way, but there's no way of completely separating at this time in history. There's no way of separating propaganda and the news. It's just too intertwined. So I think the healthiest way that they could do it is just by balancing it out. Include the good stories that are going to inspire the public that are happening in the local area, you know, not just on a celebrity level or super far overseas or something that's really out of reach for the average person just wanting to do something good and survive in a happy place. I think just concentrate on some actual proper stories, but they don't want to. I am a big I like to shoot my shot as high as I can go, and if I don't get it, that's fine, but I'll always go over just in case, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I contacted a couple of news channels around while I was starting, and I was like, "Hey, Channel 9 in particular," I was like, "Hey, how would you feel if we could incorporate like a slot, like a little jolly slot, maybe like one story a day or two stories or a radio segment or even just I don't know, something." And she actually said, the lady, she was actually, "Oh, hi, we don't take the good news. You might want to try a different channel." And I was
Wow.
like, "You actually don't take it? Like, you actually don't take it?
Oh my
Okay, cool.
gosh.
Okay."
Wow. I've never well,
Yeah,
that's proof right there. Yeah, we don't if it's not bad, we don't want to hear your good news. Okay, give us a
yeah,
bad story of someone who's suffering and struggling, and then something really, it's like, oh my
yeah,
goodness,
really,
that's horrible. Like,
really. And it's just a rabbit hole, this whole journey, because I go down and it's like the more I go down it, it's again, it sounds like a big conspiracy, but it's not. It's really tailored to keep you in a certain state. And I can't stand it.
yeah, that's why they call it like programs, channels,
Yeah.
because we're literally being programmed. And I think the news would be different if the reporters were just being themselves because they have to do a script, they have to like, but if they're just themselves, then they're so much more relatable to other people that are
Yeah,
here on earth, because we want to see somebody that we can relate to. We're like, now I get it.
exactly.
Oh, someone, but when they're too all robotic and just like, it's like, okay, this doesn't feel
Have you
real right now.
seen that video? And it was actually of a lot of American news anchors, and they come up in all these different news hubs. They're all saying exactly the same thing, and you're
Yes.
like, ah, what's happening?
I know. Maybe it made me think like, are they just holograms or something? Are they even real people? Like, it isn't. It's called
Is
like
that a
Operation
robot over there?
Mockingbird. No, they call it Operation Mockingbird with all the news because that's like where the news and I don't know, just the news itself is just like. So I'm so grateful that the Jolly Times is bringing joy to people's lives. That there's still hope for the U.S.
There's so
as
much
well
hope, so
in the
much hope.
world. We need to
I'm
bring
coming there.
we need to bring Jolly Times to the US because it will just make a big difference. Because I live in San Jose and there's a lot of it's just I don't even like to go outside anymore because it's just so dull and it's so sad because everyone looks so unhappy and just down.
Yeah,
And then of course, what are they doing on their phone looking at news probably? But if we just got some happy news in there, maybe it'll just put a smile on their face for once and change the perspective
yeah.
for the day.
Exactly. Just
Oh,
it
wow.
really changes so much, and our perspective of other people, other cultures, other races as well. It shapes everything of how we interact. So the more loveliness we can get in there, the better.
Uh,
And I actually really want to come to the States. I've done 3 stories over there so
Oh,
far,
wow.
and
Yay.
the reaction's been incredible. I've got a big online audience there, And I've had some questions like, "Oh, take it to America, take it to America." And I was like, "I would love to. I need like a little base, and then yeah, it won't be too far away."
That's awesome. And I may know the people that you need to connect
Distribute.
with too, that are journalists or in the journalist realm and stuff like that. That's so awesome. Now, Jolly Times has an interesting sustainable aspect with your customizable news, food, and gift wrap paper. How did this idea
Yes.
come about? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a way because I think not that many people understand how transformative absorbing positive news can be. So there's not much market for someone to go out and off their own back buy a newspaper of the Jolly Times, right? Um, and so I was like, okay, I need a way. So when I was very first starting off, and I was like, can I see, just want to see if people are going to enjoy it, like it in my test period. So I thought, okay, I wanted to start off small. I didn't want to do it too hectic just in case. So I put it on this food wrapping paper. I worked at a fish deli at the time, and it was used to wrap all of the seafood in. And it was just like an indirect way of here's your food, here's your product. And oh, by the way, there's something really happy to read on that paper as well, just before you rip it up and throw it in the bin. Give it a read and let me know how you feel about that. So they came back after weeks, after weeks, after weeks. They would come back. "Oh, that story is amazing. That only happened right here. This is that made me think of this." And I put little activities. So I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. Next one, put activities on there. Little. This was actually the first. So it's bigger than this. It's like 4 times the size of this.
Oh, wow.
I'll put it up for an example. So there's like activities here for people to fill in and just start have good conversations with themselves about how they inspire themselves, the good things that they see in themselves. And then I've got like little poems, little quotes, again, more like affirmations up there, just to reconfirm inside people that they are capable of doing these good, brave things in society. And it just kept coming back. More and more people were sticking it to their fridges, they were framing it, they were wrapping gifts with it. And I thought, oh, they really like this indirect delivery. It's having a really good effect. It's creating really good conversations over dinner time. I had people that were coming in like, hey, me and my family, we sat down over dinner, we read that paper that our food was wrapped in, and we had the best conversations all night. And rather than just sit down and watch TV, we actually stayed up and we talked about different things going on in our local area. And thank you for that. And I thought, no, thank you, because now I want to do more.
That is so beautiful. And just like, like prompts, you have journal prompts in there that you can even write like affirmations for themselves. And those are
Yeah.
fun. Now, do you have like games and like crossword puzzles? Something
Yeah,
about
like
like
little
comics
colouring
and
in
stuff.
activity.
When I was a little girl, oh my goodness. So we did get to like the newspaper, right? First thing it was be like Sunday newspaper or Saturday. I think it was Saturday. Get the newspaper, and then I go to the funnies all the time. And I'd always sit on the couch and I have like Garfield and I have like all the like Peanuts, all the little cartoons, and I would just read them
Yeah.
and have so much fun. And then they would have like these activities for us to do too. This is in the 90s, by the way. Early 90s. And so I'm not sure this may been definitely before your time. And so I was playing like little games, and they even had like Q&As and trivia and all these things. I'm like, wow, that is so neat. But I don't see that in our newspapers anymore. Do you
So
have?
I've actually thrown that back in. Everything you
Yay.
just said, I've actually put that in the newspaper, not the food wrap paper, but the tabloid version. We've got a comic strip in there, and it's all we've got poems, we've got links to happy songs, we've got links to good podcasts, health podcasts, we've got crosswords, Sudoku, coloring in for the little ones or the adults, whatever you want. To just bring it all back. And it's good, interesting you said with the comics because they were such a key part. They're so fun, they're so like imaginative. And I'm sad in the newspapers now as well. I'm like, where is that? It's just nice to sit there and read. So there's actually a comic book. My dad wrote the story for this comic
Oh,
book
wow.
in the paper right now. My friend Drew did the artwork for it. And it's just another way of engaging with people. The word search, all the words, positive words, again, self-affirming words. And it's just those little details that I think getting people to sit and be patient and not have anything pop up or distract, but sit with a piece of paper, that is positive, that they're just taking in. I think that's one of the biggest shifts that people can make to start the journey of repairing the way that they see the world.
Right. I love that. Oh, so
Yeah.
yeah, those comics always brought me so much joy. So I'm so glad that you're bringing those back. Now,
Yeah.
can you discuss the significance of your decision to donate 50% of your profits to nonprofits and social organizations?
Yes, so we like to do a full loop system. I want to there are so many people that have helped me through my life in unimaginable ways. There are so many people that have said, like, "Jade, how the hell are you here?" And I'm like, "I'm here because there's really good people in the world that have helped me to this point." And I'm not in a position when I started, I was like, I'm not in a position to really financially make a big difference, or I'm going really nosedive deep into this business. Maybe I don't have as much time set aside right now to physically make a good difference because I'm trying to create this world for myself. So um, there are so many organizations out there that are really down on resources right now and they're really struggling. And as a result, so does the rest of the population. I think if I still give away 50% of one of my resources, I still make a profit off the other things and the business still can be uh, enhanced.
Mhm.
But that just extra little nugget of financial help if they need it, I think can really be stretched quite far over a struggling business that is trying to do something good in the world. And the Jolly Times, like, it's the Jolly Time. It's happy when you say it. It's here to produce and give you and serve you into a jolly time. And I want to explore that in every single way. So I want to help the organizations that are helping other people thrive. I want to be a part of helping them in their success, the same way that other people have seen my dreams of me trying to help, and they've really helped me try and achieve that. And it's just that air of giving back. I love giving back. I love
Mhm.
building relationships and keeping it all in there. And if people feel good about buying it, they feel better about buying it because they like, not only am I buying this to put a smile on my face and to improve my own perspective, but my money is also going not only into just someone's pocket who I don't know, making them rich or whatever, but it's actually going back to businesses that are working day and night to help improve our society and the mental state of it.
That's
So
so beautiful.
each new issue gets donated towards a different business. Um, so as we grow and as we get out there, hopefully, every single person, individual business that's doing good things in some way, we can help them reach their goal.
That's so wonderful. And thank you for doing that because like acts of kindness and service like that is just it's priceless. Okay. It's so loving and it comes I just know you're a beautiful soul and it's such a blessing to have you on my show. It's like, oh, this is perfect show for you. Shine within. You're definitely
Lauren said the
shining.
same thing.
You're definitely shining. I'm like, oh, that you're so awesome, Jade. Now, looking to the future, how do you envision the growth and evolution of Jolly Times?
Oh, that's a rabbit hole. My imagination is so wild. It's literally the whole yellow world. Yeah, I would really like a radio slot, actually. I really want to get some good news out there, while people are driving home after work, they're in a traffic jam, they're like, oh, grumpy. I want to be there to be like, hey, it's not our shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really like, but in all seriousness, I would like the mainstream media to stop um having so much focus on the need to report on the dire situation of our society. They know how influential they are. And so, why not use your platform to help the betterment of our society? That you report on crumbling and committing crime and being depressed all the time. Why aren't you're in that position and you're molding the society to be this way? I really want to see a shift in that space, even if it's just a little segment, you know. Hope is so powerful. It's the most powerful of everything. And that's why it's so important for certain organizations to squash it, because it's the biggest driver, it's the biggest motivator. Someone with the littlest flicker of hope can do incredible things, and with so much more strength than they ever thought that they had. So even if it's just a little bit, I just want the news channels to drop this sensationalism persona, or at least apply that to the good stuff as well. And
Absolutely.
I don't want to hear about crispy hot chips anymore.
I hear you, but any projects or any new initiatives at all?
Projects. So right now we've just got the paper going out and the food wrapping paper. It's all kind of about expanding that, getting that into different shops, different suburbs, different homes, especially around Christmas. Christmas, we're going to be running a program actually about music. So Jolly Time, I really want to grow to a space where the Jolly Time can be in every sense of the word, not just the news. I think from a neuroscience perspective, if you're in a negative train of thought, yeah, then it takes you exactly 9 minutes, not 8, not 10, not 9.5, exactly 9 minutes for your brain to of listening to good music, for your brain to chemically change and reroute itself onto a different path. That doesn't mean that your mood has completely changed, but chemically your brain has put itself onto a completely new path, which is great for rolling down for the rest of the day. So I really want to explore that because music's been huge to me. So I'm making a playlist right now. It's going to go out on the 1st of December on Spotify, the Jolly Times. And it's been really carefully created to just be hours of uplifting different genres music that gets you pumped, gets you motivated, gets you thinking about the next person. Not all the songs are like super just happy and cheesy and jivey. It's not like that. There's a lot of really thought-provoking music in there as well from fantastic artists that have messages of reparations and restorations and just hope, getting it out there. Moving forward, thinking big, I would love to be able, the way that this donation has been set out for the 50% to go towards other businesses, I would really love to upscale that into a huge, huge, huge resource to be able to fund businesses, maybe microfinance if that would be the avenue. I'm not too sure yet, but I would like to be able to see the startup of a business, of someone that has really good intentions, that's trying to do something that is actually going to improve the society that they're in. And I want to help them. I want to help them get to that goal, you know. I want to help them give a jolly time to other people, and just be that kind of underlying resource that people are, no, that there is hope out there, there is work out there, there is an option out there, you know, there is this out there, there is another way, and just grow that.
Wow. That's amazing. Yes, you're spreading the love, with that love vibration. And speaking about the music, I love music. Okay, frequency, I'm all about frequency.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
gotta tune in my frequency and I gotta make sure it's right. So have the right song will actually help you with your own frequency and you can be productive in the day and feel fantastic. I always blast my music in the car.
Oh, me
I get
too. I'm
into
at
a
a red
zone.
light. It's like I'm like this. There's people dancing with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm at a point where like I am always like dancing or singing. It doesn't bother me if people are watching. Just hi,
Yeah, and how good is that? Gosh.
I know, and then because it allows people then to say, "Hey, I think I can do it too." Then if she's doing it, because we're all like programmed into like being boring, and
Yeah,
I
it's true.
right, and
It's
so
true. Like, nah, let it go, let dance. Dance in if I hear a good song in the supermarket, even, I'm dancing in the aisles.
yes,
I'm like, oh, what chips do I want? Oh, okay. Oh, I want that one because I feel good now. Oh, I want to taste that. That's delicious.
absolutely. That's why I always get pumped up when I hear like a song, even in the elevator, like at a hotel. I'm just like, oh, yeah, this is a good song. So I feel you on that. Wow. Well, Jade, where can people follow you and find you? And obviously the Jolly Times.
Yeah, so the website, it's all pretty simple. It's www.thejollytimes.com. That's double L. And that's where all the news is. There's a comic book competition. You can submit your own news on there as well if you're a journalist and or even an enthusiastic writer and you've got something really good to put out into the world. Send it through and we'll get it done there. We have an Instagram, same, The Jolly Times, same on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. I'm under there on my name as Jade Ruston for supplier purposes. And that's where you can find me.
That's awesome. And any last thoughts or words?
Just I think just to wake up. It's really even just someone to do your own research into where the news came from. I think that's a good thing to start, not where the news is now, just to have a quick look, while you're on the toilet or while you're walking to the shop. Just have a look at the history of how the news became to be where it got to today. And that's a really big giveaway into a lot of the things that we're feeling day in and day out. And you only have to look at different cyclical patterns in history and different events, wars especially, to understand the goal of the media. And I think once you understand that it is more of a propaganda machine, then you take less of it in on a fear level, and you are a bit more aware that not everything is at face value as you read it. I would really encourage people that do tune into the news to get different sources of that news and really verify as much as possible, because so much comes out quickly without the thought to even backtrack it and verify it. And it's there to get an emotion out of you to aid a certain agenda, right? And I think as soon as you go back to the source of how it got that way, how it developed through pure financial competitions between journalists and war motivation, there's not any population that is ever ready and willing to go into a war, but through a news cycle of slowly bagging on that other population or that other idea, then you start to confirm, oh, okay, maybe this is a good idea that we go to war. Yeah, maybe I should get ready. Yeah, no, this is what we're working for. And it's just all somebody else's thoughts and ambitions. So my message is just to really be careful in what you're absorbing. Go back to the history of it and just have a look for yourself at how it's managed to get here. And then open your mind to the good stuff that's happening, because there's so much of it and there is so much point to be here and to be involved. And there's great things that happen on I'm overwhelmed with good news. I can't write quick enough to take the good news in because there's so much of it. And I think it's awesome, celebrate the good things, the small good things that you do, because they often have a wilder impact than the negative stuff does. And just, stay jolly, stay happy, stay kind, stay brave, and help people. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful, Jade, beautiful. Oh, perfect. Okay. We're giving you, because I love what you're all about and what Jolly Times is all about, and then you're in your mission. And just, I love it. I love it all. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And I cannot
I've
wait.
loved talking with you as well. And you've got the
Yeah.
same mission going on your side with this podcast. You're just bringing out all the best things in people. So I love that we've met and that we've got connected. I'm going to say thank you to Lauren so much.
Yes. And if you ever come to the US, please contact me.
Yes, I will. You have to send me some music that gets you jumping. We'll add it to the playlist.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll give you some music.
Yeah, awesome. Because we want everyone to feel good.
Oh, I love that. I'll send that to you right away.
Okay.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much, Jade. Pleasure.
So much, have a beautiful rest of your evening.
You too, and morning for you.
Yeah. Good coffee time.